What does it take to get someone to click on something that you've made? It used to be easy to find an audience online back when the community was smaller. But these days everyone's competing for attention and everything has become oversaturated. At least that's what a lot of people seem to think. And it might be true, or it might be that nostalgia is just clouding our memories of those good old days. But you know what? It doesn't matter because that is the past. So looking forward, what can we do to have a better chance at building an audience? Well, first things first, I am not an expert, and anyone who claims that they can predict everything about online success is either wrong or they are lying to you. Okay, so let's start with why someone who has never heard of you before would want to click on something that you have made. Clickbait. It's when we try to offer something so enticing that people cannot resist clicking on it. Here are some examples. The exaggerator. You could have killed her. Marriage makes you fat. Science confirms. The injury. Cracked his head open. Baby cuts off toe. The shock. Tackled by police. My sister got in a car accident. The lie. Quitting YouTube. I'm quitting YouTube. Quitting YouTube? And finally, the censored. Now, all of those examples have tons of views, and they certainly are effective at grabbing our attention. But I think audiences are smarter than that. I think people are beginning to filter out these shouty, cheap exaggerations. So what's a good midpoint? This title and thumbnail wouldn't really mean anything to an audience. I doubt many people would click on this at all. So let's add a bit more information. Now this is better, but the thumbnail is literally just a face, and the title is unclear as to what the video is about. What would I gain from clicking on this? This one definitely has a eye-catching thumbnail, and it certainly claims to offer something that a lot of people are interested in, but I think this is too much clickbait, and it's a bit long as well. So let's dial it back a bit, and there we go. That video pops up and we know what it's about, what we could gain from watching it, but it's not screaming in our face. So it's definitely worth thinking about the title and the thumbnail quite early on in the process of making a YouTube video or a blog post or whatever it is. I usually write down a whole bunch of different wordings and variations of the title so that I can find something that is nice and short but still clear and with a little sprinkle of clickbait. The good thing is that if you're making content regularly, which you should be if you're trying to grow an audience, then you'll have lots of practice at making titles and thumbnails every single time you make something. Plus you get that constant feedback of seeing how each title and thumbnail performs as far as the views go. So it's a constant learning curve. So when I started this channel, I was 15, I had no connections and I had no funding. But I made the decision to make a video every single week and see what happens. And that's probably a pretty good first step for a lot of people. But it's not easy. And even then, 3 years ago, people were still complaining about how YouTube has changed so that it's not as easy for people to get found. But you know what? They were right. After a year of shooting and editing 52 videos, what I thought at the time was pretty difficult volunteer work, the most popular video on the channel had 4,000 views, which was kind of disappointing in relation to the videos that I was watching. But slowly, month after month, a few more people would start watching the videos, and gradually it did snowball into more and more. So it probably won't be easy to build an audience online, but you don't have to have started your YouTube channel in 2009 or be friends with people who are already established with their own audiences. Because just as a lot more people are creating content, there are also a lot more people who are joining sites like YouTube, and there are more people to watch the same content. But the thing is, most people don't even get through that first year. They don't get the chance to find out whether they'll then begin to snowball and grow and grow. So with all that in mind, there is a reason why I don't usually talk about this stuff. I don't usually talk about marketing on this channel. Even though I do spend a good amount of time thinking about views and thinking about thumbnails and titles, it's hard not to. And it's because getting people to click on the video is really only the first part. To me, the more important part is whether they then decide to stick around and watch the rest of the video, whether they decide to watch other of your videos, whether they decide to share the video with their friends. And all of these things are part of a much bigger topic called trying to make good content. And I actually did a separate video about that because it just cannot fit it into this one, and I'll link that as the first thing in the description. So yeah, my name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLR Guide, and I'll see you next week.